Hello.
Hey, Chris, it's Dan.
Hey, what's going on, my brother?
Not much. How about you?
Oh, it's been a week, and it's only Tuesday.
I know this is kind of how mine was last week. But Tuesday, I was in such misery from everything, and I was like, "Oh my God, it's only Tuesday. This week is going to kill me." So, is that how you're feeling this week?
Pretty much it, man. I'm here. Here's the thing, and I told a lady this. I said, here's my best friend's going through this thing, and so what I'm going through does not equal that. It's not at that magnitude, but it's bad for me.
It's bad for this moment in time. I mean,
I'm having a bad moment at this time. Oh my God, my teeth are just falling a frick apart no matter what I do. I'm going to lose all my back teeth eventually. Luckily everything I'm doing is going to save the middle and the fronts. So I'll have my big award-winning smile for the rest of my life. Hopefully.
Just don't make it too big of a smile to go to your back teeth.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, they've been just falling apart, and two of them fell apart at the same time on Friday. One on the right, one on the left. So both sides of my face were in pain. That's fun.
Even worse.
It's been resolved
yeah.
though. Yeah, it's been resolved luckily. So now the healing begins. But holy crap on a stick! That was a tough weekend. Tough weekend.
Getting older crap is not treating us well.
It's for sissies, man. Jesus. We hit 50 and our internal check engine soon lights went off. What the hell is that all about?
Yeah, I mean, geez.
Oh, shit.
And we're only halfway done. I mean, we got to live to 100. Come on.
How about that? I'm a third of the way through. This is my third life, one-third life crisis. There we go. Not third life because I'm not a cat with 9 lives or anything. But how you been feeling?
I'm finally, I think, over pretty much all the side effects from the chemo from almost 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And then I'll have a week break, and then I have a week break, and then so next Thursday, the 18th, I get it again. But I'm talking to the doctor this Thursday, the 11th. So by the time this airs, I've already talked to the doctor to see what we're gonna change in my plan. So hopefully we're changing something at least. And as I can't go through this every 3 weeks there for 5 more iterations.
Well, I know that's going to be tough. We got your back though if you need us, man.
Yeah, I mean this is going into June. This is before I'm done. So this is at least I'll be done by the summer then.
Yikes!
It's kind of.
There you go. You can enjoy the sunshine.
Yeah, but then I might have to go back for another surgery. Well, I will have to go back eventually for another surgery. Yeah, to get to my ileostomy reversed.
Oh, right. You got to put everything back together again.
Yeah, it's not as big a surgery as the first one, but still probably about an hour and a half or so under the knife. And I think they'll pay. I'll be at least a couple of days in the hospital after that. You got to make sure everything's working and everything. So.
Now you, because of your health issues, you are entitled to the vaccine at this point?
Yes, I can get it. I talked to my chemo doctor. He said, yes, get it. He said optimal time would be probably next week. The time I got scheduled was actually right after my next injection, but he said to get it no matter, if I can get it, to get it. So I'm getting it. So I'm getting it on the 21st right now, unless I can find an earlier.
I am still essential to the city, but not essential to the CDC.
Hopefully soon, with all the talk of getting more and more vaccine, and especially with the new Johnson & Johnson one. So I mean,
I've never anticipated getting a needle before. I hate the things. I hate getting shots and my blood drawn. I panic. Oh. The phlebotomists at my doctor's office are incredible people, and they're incredible professionals. But I am also an incredible wimp. As soon as I see them take the needle out, I'm like, no, God, no.
Yeah.
And then it's over.
I mean, I don't love shots. I mean, no one loves shots, and and whenever I get shots or give blood, or whatever, I never look. And so imagine my excitement when I found out after my first surgery that for 30 days I have to give myself shots.
Oh God.
So that was very exciting. I get used to it, but I always had to give myself a few minutes to mentally prepare myself. So I'm always sitting there. Sure. Come on, I can. Okay, get ready. Okay. It's a smallish. It was a smallish needle, but still. And
it's a small prick after all. It's a small prick after. Wait a minute. Are we talking about somebody? No.
Yeah. Anyways. Yeah.
Anyways,
So anyway, so yeah, but it's gonna
uh,
be warm tomorrow. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's actually something that to look forward to. Is it's supposed to be up in the 50s tomorrow? That's
I
nice.
heard 60. So
Really? Oh, that'll be
yeah.
welcome.
So I mean, because
That'll
it
be
was
welcome.
pretty nice today. I went for a walk today outside, and it was pretty nice. So I'm looking
I took
forward to even warmer.
Thursday off from work because I got to take my car in to have it looked at. Because every so often the service engine soon light pops up, and I'm like, nope, I've only had this car for 6 months. You're not screwing with me on this one.
Yeah, don't let the curse of Chris's cars continue. The
I
curse of Chris's
know
cars
the
continue.
curse
That's
of
all I
Chris's
see.
cars. Say that 5 times fast.
That
That
five
five
times
times
fast.
fast. Yeah, I can beat you to it.
Yeah.
People have been enjoying this podcast, by the way. I can't imagine why when I just start listening to us talking. but I've been hearing a lot of positive comments, so I appreciate folks listening and appreciate folks telling us how you feel about what we've been doing here. This is kind of nice. It's
Yeah,
cool and
I like it. We come in with no agenda,
right.
and whatever we end up talking about that's what we talk about. So
That's it.
so
That's
yeah,
it. Just a couple of
it's
guys
kind of
catching
fun.
up and hanging out.
Hmm.
It's kind of cool. I like it. This is starting to evolve the way I was hoping it would when I came up with the original idea. So that's all I got to
Yeah,
say.
and it'll evolve more. I mean, we're just getting
Hmm.
started. It's only our third episode, so
Episode 3.
yes. And I'm excited when get a chance to do a live one. That'd be fun to see what
That'll
happens
be
there.
fun. Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that with you on like StreamYards or something.
Hmm.
We'll we'll have fun with that. And then we've got a couple of other ideas. So if live takes off, it'll be a talk show.
So tell me about yourself. Tell me
It's
about the
time
new
for the
project.
monologue. It's time for the morning monologue. Have you been following the news at all?
Not as much as I was months ago, but a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
What's in
Because
the
I
news?
guess like the new stimulus package is about to pass the House again. We should know about that
Mm,
tomorrow on
yeah,
Wednesday, and then if that passes, then the president will sign it, and then boom, we'll see what happens. And I've got high hopes for that. It'll be interesting to see because for me, I mean, the last one was basically let's bail out a whole ton of rich people. Oh, and we'll throw some crumbs to the masses.
hmm
And it'll be, I mean, the corporate Democrats are still kind of in charge. So there's still going to be some bailout for rich people. There's still going to be a lot of that. But I'm also, there's a lot, there seems to be a lot of ingredients to this particular puzzle that affect actual real people, So it'll be interesting to see how this one takes and what happens in its wake. But yeah, the man's trucking. He's trying to get some stuff done. Well, I'm not thrilled with a lot of it, but there's still a chunk of it that he's doing right.
it's a hard environment. I mean, there's still so much of far right,
Animosity.
far left there, and there's still
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's split down the middle. So I mean, people are saying, well, he hasn't gotten, he didn't do all this stuff yet, but I mean,
He's
a
been
lot
in
of the
office
stuff
for two
is
months. What the hell?
I know. I mean, a lot of the stuff is big stuff in there, and there's yeah. I mean, I'm not. Yeah, I mean, yeah, 2 months. I mean, given it's you can't compare to can't compare what he did to what the previous president or the previous before that did because they're all
Hmm.
different and it's a much different environment now than it was in any time that I remember.
Hmm.
It's very there's still a very divided Congress, and it's really right down the line, almost divided Congress there. So it's
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy, and and I think the thing that is driving me the most insane about it is how those of the opposite alignment of me, and
mhm.
if you've listened to anything I've talked about over the years, people who are listening to this podcast will know exactly where I am politically speaking. Um, they really are not following ideas anymore. They're not following an ideology. They are following a single person.
Which is so wrong, and that single
Oh,
person is dividing himself from the party and making it and really making it all about him because I have
yeah.
seen the news where take my my name on my picture out of your advertising, send all your
Hmm.
money to me, not to the party, so
Yeah,
it's and
because that's not obvious.
that's just bizarre.
It is. It
you
really
know
is. I don't get it.
I
You
don't
know.
love party politics, but the party should not be about one person.
I agree.
Because
I
that's
agree.
not that's how becoming the dictatorship or things like that. I mean, it should be about the like I said, the ideals. It should be about what's right for everybody, or for at least the majority of people. What's the right thing to do versus what does this one person say I should do?
Yeah. Like
That's.
that one guy, the one Republican congressman who voted for impeachment,
Hmm.
and his own family disowned him for it. You're going against God. You're going against, like, what? The man has integrity, and that's a problem.
Yeah, I
He
mean,
was
and
attacking a.
how
He
can you
was
think
trying to
that
hold
God
a
is
person
this person?
accountable.
This is the person who, on record, has talked despairingly about women and oh yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't understand. I don't understand how that evolved like that, like it did. But
I don't either. I mean, I seriously, as soon as he came out during the original campaign when he was making fun of the disabled reporter, it should have ended there.
yeah,
It should have
and
just
it's.
ended right there. I mean, here's the thing. I disagree with Republican standpoints. I really do. There's a certain ideological divide there.
Hmm.
But I for a long time could understand and almost to a degree respect a lot of that divide. Okay,
Hmm.
here's how I come at something. Okay, you come at it differently. Okay, cool. Here's my ideas on this particular issue. Okay, you're different. Okay, cool. We can talk about it. We can understand each other. Okay, we can find a compromise. Great. That's the way the country was run, you
Hmm.
know? But now I look at this other side of the spectrum and it's just like, who the fuck are you people? What the hell is going on? Why has being a decent human being become a terrible thing to be? You know,
Yeah,
ah,
yeah.
it
It's
boggles the
it's
imagination. It really
it's
does, man.
bizarre. Yeah, I mean, it's just like I said. I don't understand how it evolved like it was. I mean, before I could have gone. I mean, I swing left,
Hmm.
obviously, but there
But
but there's a lot of
you've
but there's
also
a
been
lot
a
of issues
lot
on the
better
right.
being independent.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things on the right that I agree with to some extent.
Hmm. Hmm.
There's a lot of things I do agree with to some extent, but it's just gotten so extreme. I've
Yeah.
never been for forcing other people to do things if it's unless it's gonna hurt somebody else. If it's
Right.
if it's something that, yeah, the whole marriage equality, everything about that is it doesn't affect me. If
Nope.
two people of the same gender get married or whatever, or transgender, whatever, and it doesn't affect me directly. So good. Good for them.
Hmm.
Good. I have no problems with that. But why do we need to force the issue the other way? What are we gaining from that besides suppression of people? And
Yeah.
that's I mean that's the whole part of what you know yeah. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I don't
It
understand
makes
how
no
we got to we
sense to
are.
me.
No.
I mean, yeah, I don't either. I really don't.
I mean,
And
maybe
that's, I
hope.
think, the upsetting part.
Yeah.
I really feel that that's the upsetting part is the fact that it just makes no sense, and we really typically just want things to make sense. That's when we're at our best, is when we can understand what's going on in front of us, and we can't right now.
Hmm. Yeah.
You know.
And well, for things that don't make sense, I guess let's look at the whole quote unquote cancel culture. Let's look at analyzing every instance of everything, everybody's past, and finding the one thing or the something that's, because it's not good today, is not good. We should never speak of it again and wipe it from our consciousness or whatever. Or this person is now evil
Hmm.
because back 20 years ago, this was more of a normal thing, but they did that one thing 20 years ago, so now they're bad.
Hmm.
It's. I mean
Yeah.
that's.
I mean, like,
Ex-
let's just call it the Gina Carano effect at the moment, because I think that's the most recent out in the open version of this particular thing.
mhm,
Now,
mhm.
a lot of people were like, well, she has a talent, no, she's a no talent hack. She sucked anyway, so get rid of her. You know what? All
No,
right,
she didn't.
let
She
me go
very
on
much.
record. Let me go on my opinion on Gina Carano. She's a beautiful and formidable woman. She is a hell of an athlete. She has presence on the screen. She has talent, but she didn't have experience and skill just yet. And the few parts that I've seen her, little bit parts like in Deadpool and in one of the Fast and the Furious movies, and of course The Mandalorian is her most recent thing. there was a growing skill set as an actress. Okay, be that as it may. So take that, set it aside. That cannot insulate her from stupidity on when you're off the screen. And
Mhm.
so I'm not going to use all of that observation to try and justify a point where I'm going to say, well, she should never been fired. She did make several statements that were questionable and controversial. I would have made those a teaching moment, personally. Firing them seemed weird to me. And like you had mentioned, it's going back into people's histories and hitting them for things they said 15, 20 years ago. Well, can a person evolve? I mean,
Right.
thank God social media did not exist when you and I were in college.
Oh, gee.
Because I know I said I am left. I am definitely not a liberal Democrat, but I am definitely a liberal at this
Hmm.
point. I've put the paperwork in. I'm not even going to be a Democrat as soon as that's done. I'm going to be an independent because the Democratic National Committee has made it very clear they do not represent me anymore. They are establishment Democrats, whatever, and there's a
Hmm.
whole politic there going on. But I was really far left, and I said some really weird things when I was still learning what the system was all about.
Hmm.
There was a period of time in my life where I was completely like I was all about repeal the Second Amendment, get rid of it completely, ban all guns, do the thing, get rid of them. You know, and so imagine if I was running for office in the national level and they found all of my emails talking to a couple of my political science buddies about banning the Second Amendment, they would have a friggin' field day.
Oh, yeah.
They wouldn't
You never
listen
you
to
never
me
go
now.
anywhere in office.
Yeah. What's that?
Yeah.
I didn't hear what you
You
said.
never go anywhere in office.
No,
Yeah,
I
you said
wouldn't.
you would never go anywhere in office for that.
No, no,
Yeah,
no. I
it's.
mean, and that's the thing. Nobody would pay attention to what I'm saying now. My stance has evolved. I mean, there are still things that I would like to see curtailed. There are things that I'd like to see
Hmm.
removed and changed. Right. There are things I'd like to see
Right.
enhanced. I am about gun control, but I'm not also ban all the guns. I
No,
get
I
a
mean,
certain
yeah, it's
level of
just
it.
there's some, and that's the whole thing. But the one side's going to say they want to ban all guns, and nobody has ever. I don't think anyone's ever said that. Kind of
No.
thing.
Well,
Um,
here's the thing. Beto O'Rourke said it. Beto O'Rourke said it
mm,
when he was running for president in this most recent cycle that led to Biden's
mm.
nomination. He came right out and said it, and he was done within 2 weeks. I mean,
Oh
the
yeah,
Democrats were like, "Nope, you're gone." You're the
yeah,
Republicans. You tried to use him as a soundbite, but the Democrats were like, "No, we already got rid of that guy. Don't worry about him." So,
yeah. Okay, most people have not said that.
most people have not said that, and
Right.
but that's the thing is we don't
Yeah.
listen to each other. We really don't anymore, do we?
You
I
listen.
mean,
You listen for you hear what you want to hear. That you're picking out what you want to hear versus
we're
what they're
listening
actually
for sound
saying.
bites. That's I think what
Yes.
people do these days. They listen for sound bites. They don't listen for context and for substance.
Right.
Now, on the far end of the far right spectrum, you had the recently passed Rush Limbaugh,
Hmm.
who you could listen for the context, you could listen for the substance, and oh yeah, he had it all right, and you see, he was a soundbite machine, and me, yeah.
Hmm.
As Mark Twain was quoted as saying, "I have never wished a man dead, but I've read some obituaries with some great satisfaction."
Great quote.
Oh my word!
Yeah.
I am not going
I
to miss that man. I mean, sure, the thing is, nature abhors a vacuum, so there's several voices, to fill that
well, yeah,
capacity.
because he made a mark for himself. So yeah, definitely
Exactly.
people are going to be there for it. And that's the thing. There's an audience for that, and there's an audience for almost anything you want to do. And it's now for back to Gina there, or whatever. I didn't hear everything that was going on. I don't know what we don't know what beyond closed door on beyond closed doors.
Well,
You know.
the big one is when she was basically likening being a conservative on social media to being a Jew during the Holocaust, and that was
Mhm.
just out of line. It was out of line, terribly out of line.
Is that
You know,
a firing thing these days? Is
in my
things
opinion,
so
no.
sensitive? I mean, it's and that's the thing. Like, why are we? Who is which people are the most sensitive? Why are things? It's
It's on the
I mean,
extremes. It's always going to be the extremes to answer that question.
yeah.
The far left. and the far right are the most vocal aspects of the political spectrum, right? You have everybody who's in the middle or leaning in a particular direction, but not quite as far off as those other extremes. But they're not as loud as the far ends of those spectrums. You know, everybody likes to, all the conservatives like to bring the picture up of a screenshot of a protest. And there's this woman with very short hair and glasses, and she's looking extremely pissed off, right? And it's at a protest, one of those women's rights rallies and stuff like that. So they just use, here's your far left. And then, and then the left will go ahead and they'll find people waving Confederate flags wearing KKK hoods and go, well, there's the entire right. Okay, but is that really the true aspect? No, it's not.
So how much is media to blame?
Oh, tons. See, I can pinpoint where the snowball began to roll, and I do have I can pinpoint a single person to blame, and it's Ronald Reagan. You know, the patron saint of the Republican Party. They'd love to canonize him and put him on a hill, but it's his fault because he bowed to pressure, he bowed to money, and he had the FCC remove the I can't remember the exact name of it, but it was like the Fair Reporting Act or something like that. I can't remember the exact name of it, but it basically it took the bumpers, it took the guardrails off the road. You know, so that's where you can start seeing, the Rush Limbaughs and the Bill O'Reillys and Pat Buchanan's all start erupt for conservative media because they had money and organization. And the left was always disorganized because the Democrats always represented pretty much everybody else. Right? So the Republicans are the bitch, got it, and the Democrats are everybody else. So there's no single voice there. There's never been a real true unifying voice. Obama pulled it off in 2008, but then he lost everybody along the way. You know, and that voice did not carry over. So that's why the Democratic Party's always been a disorganized mess because there's always so many different people trying to control it at the same time.
Do you think anyone would ever try to get that back to undo what Reagan did?
I think it would be a no-brainer. Take the policy as it was written and reinstate it. And I've even had this discussion with 2 congressmen, and because I volunteered for Louise Slaughter a couple of times on a couple of her reelection campaigns, and I would get into policy chats. She was an amazing human being.
That's what I've heard. I've never heard anything bad.
Say whatever they want about Louise Slaughter, and you potentially could be right, or potentially you're just firing off a soundbite that somebody else fed you. But I've talked to the woman face to face. She was a dyed-in-the-wool lioness. I mean, holy crap! This woman was amazing. She walked into the room, and you knew it. You knew it without even having to see it. You could feel the force tremor, and it was just okay. And it was this cool. She knew exactly what was going on. She knew exactly how to handle everything. She knew exactly who to talk to, what phone call to make. She was impressive. And she had a wicked sense of humor. I remember the first time I ever met her. Here's a tangent for you. The very first time I ever met her was the very first volunteer meeting I was ever a part of for the first campaign I volunteered for. And Terry got me into it when I was dating Terry at the time.
Yep, I can remember.
And I was at the very end of the horseshoe, and everybody's going around introducing themselves to each other, not realizing she had walked into the room. And I looked up, and because where I was sitting, I could see her standing there just listening and smiling. And so the idiot that I was, because I don't remember, it was early to mid 90s. So I had to be in my 20s at that point. And I'm a moron, right? I was that guy who thought he could get away with stuff. So I had already struck up a great rapport with the campaign manager, this girl, Amy, and she and I had hit it off. We would become good friends during the course of the campaign. But it comes around finally to my turn. And I looked the congresswoman dead in the eye. I go, "Hi, my name is Chris Frank. I'm the head of clandestine affairs and dirty tricks." And everybody just stops and stares at me for a moment. She is cracking up. She is just absolutely cracking up at this point. And I said, no, I'm going to be doing media tracking. I'm going to be doing this with the various local networks and whatnot. They're like, okay, cool. And so we got up and I didn't think anything of it. She comes walking up to me. She goes, "I've always wanted that department in my in my campaign." We started laughing. I lost it. I'm laughing my butt off at this point. I'm like, okay, this woman is awesome. She's all right. She tolerates my stupid sense of humor. And
see, anybody who can laugh at anything is
Yeah,
is worth
very
it.
important person to have.
And I think we've lost that a lot, and for a
We
lot of
have.
people, you can't laugh at yourself, can't laugh at anybody, you can't
No,
laugh. Are
no, you
there? I
can't.
mean, I have no idea the great comedian, if there's any great comedians out these days. I have no idea what if they are or what they do, but I mean, I just remember listening to the the Eddie Murphy, the Richard Pryor, the Sam Kinison, all the ones from back in our era, and it's just you just got to laugh at whatever. And
Yeah, I've got
I don't
Sirius
think,
XM
yeah.
in my car, and it's funny that you bring that up because there's a variety of comedy channels, and I have two of them in particular bookmarked, so I can always turn to them when I want to. And one of them is more the modern crew,
Hmm.
and there is another one that focuses a lot on the comedy greats.
Okay.
And so you will have George Carlin and Eddie Murphy and Robin
Oh
Williams
yeah.
and Richard Pryor,
Mm.
and I can't think Stephen Wright. They did a
Mm.
Stephen Wright
Oh,
routine,
Stephen Wright.
and I know how much you love Stephen Wright. I could hear, I'm hearing him do his one-liners, being right after another, boom, 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 boom. I'm hearing him in your voice because I remember you throwing them at me every so often, right?
Oh
I
my
remember
god, I
you
haven't
walking
listened
up
to him
to me.
in so long.
I remember you walking up to me at Aquinas in our senior year. I can remember this in the band corridor in the stairs below the cafeteria. You walk right up to me and go, "I bought a cordless extension cord." Right? And so I'm listening to the Stephen Wright routine, and he fired that line off. I had to
Oh
pull
my
over
god.
the car because I was done. I was gone. I'm like, how the
Oh my
hell did
gosh.
that happen?
Oh, I gotta listen to Stephen Wright. I haven't listened to him in so long. Mm. Oh
So
my
yeah,
gosh.
but there's a huge
I.
difference. There is a huge difference between modern comics and classic comics. I mean,
Hmm.
obviously the language is a thing because now comments are fuck this and shit that and goddamn and then the boom 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 and f bomb this and the seven deadly
Yeah.
sins of telecasting, and they're all out there to be seen. Um,
Right.
the classics are more family friendly, but there was also a little bit of more sarcasm. The classic comics are also more likely to throw elbows at each other and get
Hmm.
the joke. So it circles around to what you were saying. Like nobody was as offended. They laughed along with you. Like the Dean Martin roasts.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they were throwing insults and throwing shots at, and everybody looked forward to Don Rickles showing up.
Oh jeez.
Because as soon as Don Rickles hit the stage, nobody was safe.
Hmm.
He will take on presidents and to their face, and he will throw elbows at them, and they would all laugh.
But
They would
they
all
could
get
do
the
it in a way. There's two parts of it. They could deliver the roast in a good way, and
joke.
people could accept it. And I don't know if people can. I don't know if people are more cruel these days, or people aren't as accepting, aren't able to laugh at themselves as much, or a combination of the two.
I think it's a combination of several factors. I think people are infinitely more sensitive. I also think that there is an infinite more cruelty, but there's
Hmm.
also a lot of other things going on, other factors. I think because of social media and current media, there's
Hmm.
more of a spotlight. So I think there's certain levels of cruelty and a certain level of sensitivity that have always existed, but we didn't see them as often. Where
Mm.
you and I growing up in the 70s and 80s, where the internet did not exist on a person to person level. You know, we didn't have social media, we didn't have cell phones, we had passing notes in school is what we
That's right.
had, right? So we could
And I was
see
good at that. Gosh darn it.
we could see cruelty because we grew up with the popular kids and the jocks
Hmm.
and the drama kids and everybody that Anthony Michael Hall talked about it in his soliloquy at the end of Breakfast Club. We saw
Hmm.
all of those, right? But now it's been amplified and magnified and made mainstream. The extremes have been made
Yeah.
mainstream, right? The
It
everyday
was more
person in
local
the middle
before. Yeah.
the everyday person in the middle who just wants to go to work, go home, enjoy their family, go on vacation, take care of their bills, do the right thing, and leave the people the hell alone, have their friends, support people who need it, turn their back on people who deserve it. Those
There's
people are
strength in
quiet.
numbers. There's anonymity and
Mm-hmm.
anonymity.
Anonymity.
But
An
there's strength
anemone.
in numbers
Let's see
because
an
you can find
anemone.
people who would join you. Versus before, it was local. It was
Yeah.
like your school or
Mm-hmm.
a small group of people. It was just small groups. And now it's large groups. I'm going to post it
Yeah.
on my. I'm going to tweet it, and thousands of people are going to like it. Okay, this is good.
Yeah. Our
I've
reach is
gone viral.
global now.
Yes, yes, it is.
You and I are global at this moment. Have you seen lately how huge FC3's response has been overseas?
I
Every
don't.
day we're seeing more and more likes of people in the Middle East, in Europe, in Africa. It's like, wait, how are these people finding this little old pocket group in Rochester, New York? It's
I
believe
see
it, man.
I see like especially in the Middle East. I bizarre. Where are these people coming from? Why are they? And this was recent too. This is in the past few months. I've noticed that uptick for
Yeah,
those.
it has been weird. It's been weird. I mean, we've gone, like you said, we've gone from local to global. I think about,
Hmm.
when I first was introduced to the internet, when I was at Brockport and I was finishing up my bachelor's degree finally in 94, 95, that neck of the woods.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
I was introduced to online gaming for the first time through a mush,
Yep.
multi-user shared hallucination. Okay. And it was a Star Trek mush based TNG. Okay, great. I'm a Trekkie. Great. We had a great time. And you start meeting people. First, it was all over the country. And then it was
Hmm.
in pockets of Europe, in England, in Italy. And at one point, by the time I had graduated and I was settled back into quote unquote adult life, um, I was the captain of one of the ships on the Federation side. And my chief I got a big laugh out of this. My first officer was our friend Brian, who I miss
Hmm.
tremendously. It's been gone
Hmm.
way too long.
Yeah.
Our ship's doctor was from the Philippines, Brian's wife, okay, who now lives in Kansas City. Um, our chief of security was a London police officer. Our chief engineer was somebody who was helping design one of the colliders out in Europe.
Wow.
I lost track of them in the early 2000s, but we used to email each other all the time. My chief tactical officer was an Australian, and I can't remember. There was a couple of other people. I had people from Texas, I had people from Canada, I had one guy from Mexico on my crew. I had two Russians who would always say, "Yeah, we're Russian, we're Soviet spies," when all they were Russian. They were just basically chemistry grad students, and they were looking forward to living in London. And I think they do. I think they moved to London in 1999. But I lost track of
But you had a
most.
global crew there. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a global crew. And so when we were talking to each other, there were shifts going on. It was great when the Australian would come on because he would bring a couple of his mates on board and they would have the ship working on times when we were all asleep.
Hmm.
So it was great. It
Yeah.
was a lot of
It
fun.
worked out well. Yeah.
But I'm telling you, it was so weird that I could say one thing and it would affect 30 people across the planet.
And that was because the web came around about 94, mid 90s, 94, 95 is when the
Yes.
web is it's more like it is today came around. The internet, of course, has been around for a lot longer, but it was more, before that, there was the dial up, the AOL kind of thing. And then, the dial up bulletin boards and things like that. And
You've got mail.
yeah, so, I mean, the multi-user games like those were kind of revolutionary at the time. I mean, that was a big
Hmm.
step. And now those kind of the fact that we're right now recording this online, which is it's a natural
Yeah.
thing now. And yeah, I mean
We're about, what, 20 miles apart from each other at the moment?
yeah, and you guys can't see it, but we
Something
can
like
see
that.
each other. So we can see each other, and
Yes, we can.
it's normal.
Hi,
This is
Dan.
normal today. So I mean, but yeah, I
We
mean that
have to
was,
see you.
but it's. Where did we start with all this? How did we get over here? I
I
forget.
think that's the beauty of this particular podcast. We were talking about the reach of social media,
Oh
and
yeah,
we were
reach the
talking
social
about
media.
how
Yes,
back
and that's
in the day,
early. Yeah,
we were talking about how our group was local and now it's global, and it
yeah,
kind of
because
stemmed from that.
because it's so accessible. I mean, back in the '90s and stuff, it was harder to get on it. So when you talked about having policemen, possibly college students, or people who it was a select group of people who would get on and do some of this stuff because it wasn't necessarily an easy thing to do. going into bulletin boards and talking to people there, or going into news groups, or going into whatever else we had at the time. It wasn't an easy thing to do. And then things like AOL came along, and that was the start of making it easy for everybody to get on. AOL was the big one, and then there was, of course, CompuServe and Prodigy, and I forget what else. But that's when it started
Netscape?
getting. Netscape was just a browser. It wasn't an online service. So the other
Oh,
ones were
right.
online services.
Right.
Yeah. Netscape was the first big browser. And I don't think it exists anymore, does it?
I remember using it and being so in love
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
I
It
was
was the
actually asking
best at the
somebody. I
time.
was asking one of my customers. I was asking one of my customers the other day for an email address I could send them some documentation for a house that we were discussing, and they gave me an AOL address, and I just remember pausing and kind of staring at the phone for a moment, like, really?
Yeah.
Is that still a thing?
It's still a thing. I know some people that have it still. So yeah,
It's amazing.
they haven't never given them up, and I guess it still exists in some form.
The
They don't
internet
send you the disc
is
anymore.
the internet, in my opinion, and I think I've heard somebody say this was why I'm thinking about it at the moment. The internet is the greatest single invention in human history, but it is also the single worst thing to happen to human history at the same time, because not only is it this tool for accessing knowledge and generating communication and bringing people together, but it has also created this swath of misinformation and antagonistic politics, and it has helped divide just as much as it's brought people together. It's incredible to think the sheer impact that the internet has had on humankind just since the 1990s, and here we are in 2021. So what, 25, almost 30 years at this point.
Yeah, I mean, the internet is ingrained in almost everything we do.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody almost everybody has Wi-Fi. Majority of people in the U.S. have Wi-Fi. And, you have internet. Most people have internet access of some sort. I know there are people that still don't have it, but I mean, the majority of people have it. There's so many things that think of all the stuff I have in my house. Think of all the stuff you have in your house that's connected.
Right.
Even just your TV. You stream your TV services to the internet versus getting it over the air or through cable.
I got rid of Time Warner cable almost immediately after Game of Thrones ended. As soon as the Game of Thrones finale aired, I started, like, the credits were done, and I unplugged my cable box, and I took my TV completely streaming and internet and Wi-Fi and internet channels and Netflix, and I got CBS All Access, Paramount, whatever the hell it is now, and Disney Plus, and stuff like that. Yeah, I took my cable bill from $180 a month to $70 in that 1 year.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. And now with She Who Shall Remain Nameless, because there's a receiving station directly in front of me. So if I say that particular name that's an offshoot of my daughter's middle name, then she'll start engaging and talking to me while I'm trying to do something else. But I have a lot of remote systems throughout my house now. I'm starting to try to make my house as much of a smart house as possible. And it's an evolutionary process. Like right now, it's just basically a bunch of light sockets and light bulbs that are so I can say, hey, you, turn on the basement, or hey, you, turn on my room, or hey, you, turn on, and I can program the lighting system at the moment. And then as I start replacing appliances, I'm going to make sure they're, her capable. Echo. We'll use one of her pseudonyms. Echo.
The Echo, yes.
Echo, or computer. Because if I say that name, she just perks right up. And it's funny because I have the Echo Dot in my room, and I have one in the living room, or excuse me, in the kitchen. So it's in my room, my kitchen, and my basement. And then I have my Kindle Fire, which I did not realize is a receiver. So if I say the magic name, this thing's going to light up and it's going to start commanding things. And then she gets it. She's a snitty little thing sometimes when she doesn't understand what you're asking for. She can get nasty with you. She's like, I don't know that. And I'm like, wait, I'm sorry. I wasn't talking to you.
Well,
I
at
started.
one point we had in our kitchen, because our kitchen and our family room are pretty much one big room. I had the Fire
Yeah.
TV, I got the Echo, and then I had we had a couple Fire tablets, and so say the name, and then like everything lights up, like whoa, what's going? Everything stops. Don't know what's going to answer me anymore, but it's a.
And you know what's even better? What's even better is that I have the app on my phone, so I can program everything and make sure it's all working correctly
Mm-hmm,
and monitor it. And if I want to set timers and stuff like that, I can do that. But I can also turn devices on and off through the phone.
mm-hmm.
So I'll be at Tanya's house gaming, knowing that Jules and her boyfriend Josh are in the living room watching horror movies, and let the hilarity ensue.
That brings it back a time in Pennsylvania.
Oh God, yes!
Way before that certain name existed, but it's
Uh-huh.
Chris and I went down to the Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair. We stayed at a bed and breakfast right by Lane, it was by Lancaster there,
Lancaster,
and
yeah.
yep, so bed and breakfast, and it was later at night, and we got a pizza. We were trying to find a place to eat. I think trying to find a place to sit and eat it. So we're wandering around the bed and breakfast, and there was a light switch, and we didn't know what the light switch was. So we're just, we kept them flicking the light switch on and off. So okay. Then eventually we left it, and then the next day we heard that the daughter was there with her boyfriend,
The
and that
daughter,
light
Abby
switch.
was her name. You remember that?
Oh yeah, okay, yep. I'm surprised you
Abby
remember the
was
name, boy.
the light switch was Abby's room.
Yeah, and
I,
and there
I
and
there
it,
there's it's weird the things that I can remember.
and they were scared because the light kept on going on and off. Because this light switch was out in the middle of nowhere. It was the craziest thing. It was like a hallway, and there's just a light switch there. No rooms, but apparently it hit her room, and
Hmm.
we scared her.
Oh, I felt bad about that. I really did. I felt horrible. As soon as you mentioned Pennsylvania, I knew exactly where you were going with that. Because I remember they were also her parents were the proprietors of the bed and
Yep.
breakfast, and she was there. She was home from school and just hanging out, and
Hmm.
we were all striking up a conversation with the family. It was you, me, Brian, and Missy.
Okay,
Um,
that's right.
and they were talking about how a couple weeks earlier there had been an Edgar Allan Poe convention in town, and so there was a bunch of people just walking around the bed and breakfast going "Nevermore." You know?
Oh yeah, right.
And can you see the look on her face when she did? She went all like deadpan, like "Nevermore." I'll evacuate some vampire or zombie. Like I was like, we just cracked up. It
Oh
was
jeez.
that was a great experience. I
It
missed
was a
that.
fun stay there. That was a fun time.
Our Lady Sterling is dying.
Oh my gosh, it's
What a
when
travesty that is.
when I saw the news. I mean, so Don Juan and Miguel, we follow them on Facebook. If you don't know
Hmm.
Don Juan and Miguel, if you ever been to the Renaissance Fair, they're the sword fighters. They're amazing. They're just amazing couple guys.
Just
Just great
fantastic people.
personalities. They are, and I follow both of them on Facebook, and they're just
Hmm.
amazing people. And they do a bunch of other fairs around the country. Pennsylvania is one of them. Um, and but apparently they just got kicked out of Sterling, and it's I haven't been to Sterling in a long time, and I don't know
I
if
went
I.
with when I was dating Christine 2 summers ago. She
Mhm.
took me there and we spent the day and it was nice. It felt good to be quote unquote home because of the amount of time we've spent there throughout the 1990s. We would have season
Mhm.
passes. We would go and guard. We got involved. We had a great time. That was when the place still had its soul.
Yes,
It doesn't anymore. This
it's
guy
a
who's
business
owned it
now.
now, I don't know how long Waterbury's owned it, but he has just made it very clear that he's all in for money and doesn't give a shit about anything else.
It's just sad. I mean, that's not what it's about. I mean, you
No.
want them to succeed as a business, but for this type of thing, you need to have the soul. You
Yeah.
need to bring it back. I
That
mean,
helps bring the creativity and the inspiration, and it's that brings people back more
mhm.
than the attractions do,
Yeah, because
right?
it's about the environment. It was all about the
Mhm.
environment there. I mean,
Well,
just
what it was
I mean,
Jose and Doug were fighting against the tyranny of the capitalist essentially, right?
mhm,
They were trying to do the most to keep people rallied and to keep people invested in terms of the art form and the entertainment value and the camaraderie and the spirit of it, and he
mhm.
wasn't having any of it. He wanted, and that was good. I think in this might be urban legend and I might be completely off base, so I will put a little asterisk next to this next comment. I think I heard a rumor though that Jose and Doug were trying to rally a bunch of people together and get backing so that they could buy Sterling from Waterbury.
I thought I heard something about that, whether they're trying to get control of it or something, or trying to
They were
do
trying to
something
get
like
control
that.
of it, and I think this was his way of saying, "Back off, it's mine."
Yeah,
You know?
possibly. I mean, it's sad. I mean, I got to try to we could try to make a trip down to Pennsylvania sometime, the PA Fair,
Yeah,
and
Lancaster
do it.
Fair was always a beautiful place, and there's one in
Hmm.
Tuxedo, New York. I've never been to that one, and I've never been to the one in Michigan that you had gone to.
I try. Yeah, I did that one time.
I would like to spend a couple of long weekends in the summer going to different festivals. Just I miss being a Rennie.
Hmm.
I miss it.
Yeah.
I don't have much of my outfit anymore. It's been torn up or whatever the case may be, or I lost bits and pieces of it. I always need new boots because my boots were always like shoddy at best. Although for a while I was using boots from Arlene's costumes thanks to being with Terry,
Hmm.
so
Yeah.
that worked in my favor for a little while. But I miss being dressed up and being Sir Tristan and going out and hanging out with people and interacting with them and feeling that vibe.
Yeah, the
That
vibe.
mystical vibe. I love it.
When you go there in costume, it's so different,
Mm-hmm.
and
It's so
that's
easy
why
to get lost into it.
that's why I can understand the cosplayers. When you go there
Yeah.
dressed up, when you go to a place dressed up, it's such a different feeling there. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you stand out. I mean, you stand out, so
Right.
people are going to notice you more, which is a different feeling. And I remember going to Pennsylvania. We were dressed up in Pennsylvania, and people were asking us like direction, and people were asking, they thought, because we looked like we were working there,
We
type
looked
of
like we
thing.
belong
And
there. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's just, yeah, I think I still have most of my costume. I know
I
I do
still have
actually.
the cloak that your mother made for me.
I hope you
I
had the
still
cloak. The
have
cloak was a big thing. Yeah.
the cloak was a huge thing, and because I will never let that go for as long. That's like one of my cherished Ren Fair
Hmm. She did a
possessions.
good job with those. Yeah.
I mean, and it's a beautiful heavy wool cloak too, so it's great
Hmm.
for the cold weather months,
Yeah. The
right?
Pennsylvania was great because it was cold and rainy.
Oh my God, yeah, because we're at the tail end of the Pennsylvania season. So I mean, they close in
Yeah.
October, and
Yep.
it was a cold, drizzly day, and I mean, we were dressed for adventuring weather, and it was
The,
beautiful.
the cloak was perfect for it.
And I've also worn my costume on Halloween on a couple of
Hmm.
occasions, and the cloaks kept me going, right?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
that's one of those cherished. I still have the pants, although unfortunately they don't fit me anymore.
Oh.
Uh, I'm a little wider than I used to be in my
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
90s.
Yeah.
Although
Yeah.
thanks to my dental problems this week and the fact that I haven't eaten anything of substance in about 4 days, I've lost 7 pounds.
There you
So
go. See,
there's a silver lining. Of course, I'll probably
don't gain
find
it
it
all
again.
right back. Yeah. Don't get
Yeah,
it all right back.
I'll find them back. Um, but I still have the pants and I still have the cloak and I still have a couple of the accoutrements like belts and pouches and things like that. I still
Yeah.
think I have the gloves, the leather gloves that I bought from Potomac Leather at Sterling. So I'm not too far away from being operational, right? I could spend a couple bucks here and there, maybe when a certain stimulus check comes our way in a couple of weeks. Um, I might start investing in some new pieces. That would be, I mean, that's the thing is the vibe, the feeling, the atmosphere of a Renaissance festival is
Hmm.
like that's my catnip. I
Yeah.
miss it so. I miss it so much. And so when cosplayers are complaining about not having conventions to go to, I'm like, I feel your pain, man. I feel your pain.
Hmm.
Oh, Naruto, I understand, brother. I get it.
Remember initially when we were doing FC3, you wanted to make it kind of more like like the fair type of environment,
Yep.
and
I still have
maybe we
hopes that
get
we'll be able to evolve that way.
maybe we can do something this year. Let's think about that.
Hmm.
There's got to be something we can do with it. I mean, we need to make it. I want to make it again. I've always wanted to have it an experience,
Yes. Well,
and that's
that's the
what the
fanatic
fair
in you.
should be.
That's all. That's the whole Disney hero in you. You love
Hmm.
Disney. Disney is all about the experience and all about the guest. Be
Yes,
our guest. Be
our guest, be our guest.
our guest.
Yeah, but we got the experience. The Renaissance Fair was about the experience. That's what I loved it.
Hmm.
Just the experience of being there. I mean, a lot of the shows, it says, the same show every year, but just experience of being there, seeing them do it and do the same silly stuff sometimes. Even if they did the same show, it's like, it still enjoyed it, because it's just
Getting
the
getting the
environment.
actors to break character for a moment was always my favorite thing to do. Just if you could catch him off guard in just the right way, you could get him to like just suddenly break character just for a heartbeat, just for a snicker or a glance or like a knowing smile or something like that. That was like that was my whole
You're
day
good
in a
at
win,
that.
right? Or my whole
You're,
minute a day.
and you're good at those kind of things. You're good at coming up with those things that are gonna catch them off guard.
Well, my favorite is one summer. This guy Dave Narby, who was a senior at Brockport when I was a junior, and he was a huge. I mean, this guy was like one of the guys of our theater department. He was one of the lead dogs. This dude could, and he was good. He was great on when he was on stage. He was great, and one of the parts I remember him doing was he was in Dracula. He was the man. He was the vampire himself. So the following summer, I show up at Sterling with our usual cavalcade of extras, and I'm walking along, and who do I see as the sheriff of the freaking Shire, but none of the Dave Damn Narby. And he and I looked at each other, and he just smiled and tilted his head a little bit, and I smiled and tilted my head a little bit, and the game was on. He knew I was coming for him all day long, right? And at one point, he was accosting one of the other characters. So this was an actual scripted. Well, it's an improv moment, but it was on the schedule.
A planned
Moment.
Yeah.
And they're going off on each other. And this poor mud beggar, and he was just ripping this poor kid to pieces. And the kid's he's playing it up. He's going full Shatner. He's getting picked on by the sheriff, and he's just throwing himself on the ground and wailing, and he's just full on William Shatner at the moment. And I don't know what possessed me to do it. I remember my voice yelling it out, and then my brain going, "What are you doing?" Because that's the thing about me, and I'll talk about that another time. But I go, Jesus Christ, leave the man alone, you fucking bloodsucker.
Oh, jeez.
And Narby lost it in mid-stride. All of a sudden, he was just ready to put the death note into this guy and heard bloodsucker and just choked on the word and stared at me.
Oh, my gosh.
And I'm like, I'm going to pay for that one. But it was so worth it. It was so absolutely worth it. But yeah, I have a feature in my personality that most of those you, Tanya, a lot of people who are closest to me are aware of, that I have two minds. I have two halves to my consciousness. There is the half that controls the speaking, and the other half that's just wondering why the hell I'm saying that. I have a running commentary especially when I'm in an argument with somebody. There's a running commentary in the back of my head going, "What are you doing? Why are you? What? Can you calm down, please? Why are you doing this right now?" And then there's the half that's controlling the mouth that's just blah, 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 tearing it.
It just keeps them going. It doesn't. They don't talk to each other. Those halves. They
don't talk. Those halves do not talk. But there is a scary moment in time. There's two occasions in history where the voices were in complete agreement, and yeah, I won't go into those today.
No.
But I remember I was dressing this person down, and I was stopping for a second going, why am I not stopping myself? And then I was realizing, no, I'm in the right place. Okay, this is right then. Okay, good. Game on. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Oh, I am a weird person. I am a very weird human being.
But that's a good thing.
It is.
Weird is good. What is normal? I mean, what is normal? I mean, what is normal?
Normal is a setting on the dryer. I heard a friend of mine say that once, and it stuck with me. I think that was. I've heard several people that say that, but I think the most recent person was Margot from the Real Women of Gaming podcast team. I heard her say normal is a setting on the dryer, and that's it. I love her.
I'm good with that. Yeah, I'm good with that. Yeah.
I need you to meet Margot one of these days, because she is one of those classic badass broads. She really is.
Okay.
She's a bundle of nerves and anxieties at times, but she is just an absolute doll and a fierce friend.
So we got to go to a Renaissance fair sometime soon.
We do, just not Sterling anymore.
No, apparently not.
Let's start our own.
We got a convention we have to worry about first.
Okay, so just an offshoot of the convention. Gotcha, understood. We can work that in a couple of years. Gotcha, thank you. Okay.
Yes. Let's get the convention. Let's get the convention a little bit bigger. Then we'll talk about a Renaissance fair.
Sounds good. I mean, we really seriously do have fuck around and find out energy, right? We don't like the way you're doing it. We have suggestions. Oh, you don't like our ideas? Okay, fine. We'll just go do it our damn selves.
Yeah, gee, I wonder how when we did that.
Yeah,
Suddenly there's Flower City Comic Con. Anyways, yeah. So
Anyway, you got to get going.
yeah, I think I think we've covered a lot of stuff today. I think we've
We did. We chat. That's what we do. I love this podcast so much for the fact that we
it
have no
is.
idea what we're about to talk about. We just start chatting,
Mm-hmm.
and then we find things to talk about along the way.
Yeah, we ended
It's
up at the
great.
Renaissance Fair. I love it, and now I want to
Uh-huh.
go. Now I want to go to the Renaissance Fair.
We went from global politics to the internet to Renaissance festivals.
I love it.
That's awesome.
Went back in time.
That's it. That's it. That's awesome. Yeah, again, current politics to internet. Okay, yeah. We did.
Yeah,
We went back in time.
there you go. So yeah, went back in time.
As always, my friends and family out there listening to us warbling on, if there's things you want us to talk about, please let us know. Please, we love your feedback. We live for your feedback because
Would you like us to do a live show? Would you like us to do it live? Would you like to
yeah,
join in with us?
we've been talking about this from the beginning. So we'd love to do this live, and if you're interested in hanging with us live some night, we'll make it happen.
I'm thinking maybe episode 4. I'm thinking maybe
episode
maybe
4.
in a couple weeks we'll do live.
In a couple weeks we'll be on StreamYards.
Yeah, so we'll see. Maybe we'll do it. Maybe we'll
linktr,
definitely let you know.
linktr.ee / no, it's linktr.ee / Mighty Monkey.
Yes.
Linktree. That's our link tree. Mighty Monkey.
Buy us a cup of coffee.
Please. I'll actually even drink it too because I drink coffee nowadays. Not regularly, not like a coffee addict Starbucks person, but I've had the occasional cup of coffee over the years, which is always a weird thing to admit.
Yeah, I never thought you would, but
I know.
I still haven't. I haven't fallen into that yet. But
there's a story. That's a story for another day because I can go off on another tangent real quick with that one because that's like that's a 10-minute warble right there.
Yes.
But let me let you go.
Okay.
You go take care of the boys, and I'm gonna take Puppy for a walk, and we'll go our separate ways for a little while.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good, brother. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
See you.